We are now ready to start creating a 3D model. The 3D model we will be working on is a barrel. A barrel is fairly simple to do and it does not require anything too complex. But to create it, we will be utilising everything we have learnt so far. Before we create a 3D model, it is always a good idea to prepare ourselves. So I've downloaded a couple of textures from online. I will put the links in the description of where you can get these textures, which we will use for our barrel, which just consist of a wood texture for the main barrel and the metal texture for the strips that go around the barrel. I strongly recommend that you use the exact same textures to avoid issues later on. If you cannot download the textures, then don't worry, you can just apply basic colours to the barrel instead. This tutorial is more about creating a 3D model. We will go into more detail on texturing in later tutorials. The next part of the preparation stage should be saving the file. Now, we haven't made anything yet, but I always like to just save the file now for best practice. So come up to File and then Save As. It will open up this Blender file view. And now we can come in and save our file. Let's just call it barrel_1. I already have a file in here called barrel_1, so I'm just going to overwrite that. Now let's move on to actually creating the barrel. Let's delete everything to clear our scene. Press A to select everything and then the delete key. Now press Shift and A to open the Add menu and create a cylinder. I'm just going to move the cylinder above the grid line. First, let's go into edit mode and create a bunch of loop cuts. So Ctrl and R to open up the loop cut tool, and then scroll up on the mouse wheel 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Left click to confirm the action, then right click to confirm the uniform placement. Now let's go into edge select mode and alt click on the middle line here. Let's now turn on proportional editing. We can either come up here to turn it on, or we can just click the O button on our keyboard. Now let's scale outwards a bit until we get our barrel shape. We may need to increase the circle of the proportional editing. Let's do about there. We can always edit it later if we don't like it. I'm just going to come back into object mode and make our barrel a little bit taller. So I'm going to scale it on the Z axis. Now let's create the ridges on the top and the bottom of our barrel by using the Inset tool. Going back into edit mode, turn on face select, select the top face here, and then click the I button to inset the face. Now let's extrude downwards with the E button. Now let's do the same thing with the bottom of the barrel. Select this face, inset, extrude. We now need to start creating the metal bands that wrap around the barrel. Let's alt click on one row of faces to select it, and then holding down the Shift and Alt buttons, let's select another set of rows where we want our metal bands to appear. So I'm just going to select these rows here. Now with all of them highlighted, let's split them to be their own mesh so that we can work with this barrel a bit more easily. Press the P button to separate the selection to become its own mesh. If you look over here on our collection, you can see how it's become its own mesh. Let's make our scene collection a bit tidier by renaming these meshes. So we can just rename this to metal bands, and then double click on this, and we'll just call this barrel. Now, with the metal band selected, let's go into edit mode. Press A to select everything. Now let's extrude these by normals. Right click, extrude faces along normals, and now type 0.02 to scale out the extrusion by 0.02 meters, and then left click to confirm the action. So the barrel's starting to come along now. I want to make one more quick edit though. Let's bevel the ridge at the top here to make it smoother. Selecting the barrel, going to edit mode, edge select mode, alt click this line around here to select all of it, and now Control and B to bevel. Just makes it look a little bit smoother. We now have the general shape of our barrel. In the next video, we will start creating the materials for the barrel. But before we end the video, let's just save our barrel again. File, save as, and let's name it barrel_2. As models become more and more detailed, it's always easier to have a whole line of backups so that you can always revert back to a previous version if you need to.